Baby Reindeer is absolutely killing it on Netflix. I feel like everyone in the world has watched it.
Yeah.
What's your view on it?
I thought it was really intense. I'm not gonna lie. I probably didn't do the best thing in the world, and I watched it all in one go, hungover, having only had like 4 hours of sleep. So I think that it was like I was already quite emotionally raw, and then I watched that and I was like, oh yeah, not doing great. Yeah. I thought it was incredible. Like, I think the guy that came up with it, obviously it's based on his real life experience as well as obviously acting in it.
I love the fact that he's in it.
It makes it so much more powerful. I think obviously the story in and of itself is very powerful, but the fact that you're watching it knowing that actually happened to him, he's able, or that he's even like mentally able to relive and kind of unpack those really traumatic things that happened to him, I think is really admirable.
I just like his faces in it. Like his face, like...
That sounds a bit creepy.
Yeah, in a creepy...
Like his face.
I just like his face.
Yeah.
No, but like the faces he pulls, like when she's at the window, when he's on the bus and he's like trying to hide.
He's very expressive.
Very expressive. I mean, he's a comedian, so...
I think the show, what's really good about it is that we kind of see so many different stories and conversations in such like a nuanced light. Like, obviously sexual assault and stalking and this kind of like intense emotional and physical like fear. You see it in ways that we've not really seen portrayed in other shows. I actually was speaking to... No, I'm not done yet. I was actually speaking to one of my friends over the weekend about it, and it's kind of like, obviously it's a different topic and it's slightly different in like nature, but like the tone of voice and just kind of the raw emotion. He was saying that the last time he really felt that way was when he watched It's a Sin.
I've not seen it.
Oh, of course you haven't. It's basically a really emotional and intense look into kind of like the AIDS crisis and specific stories of people who were like impacted by that. But it's like a fictional story. And he was basically saying that it was like that same level of like intense emotional like rawness.
Fair enough.
Not me saying this whole thing and your only response is fair enough.
That was, I feel like if that wasn't a true story, I would have been like, well, that's a rip-off of Misery.
Is there a thing called Misery?
There's a film and Stephen King...
I thought you meant the emotion.
And that...
I thought you meant... I was giving more the emotion of misery.
No.
It's miserable.
No, there's a Stephen King book called Misery, and they made it into a film, and it's about...
That was both of us being really stupid.
I was like, oh my god, she gets it. She's seen the film. No, but it's about this fan who loves this author. This author breaks down somewhere. She ends up taking care of him, like helping him.
Stalker vibes.
Very much stalker vibes. Oh, I'm a big fan. Oh, okay, I need to leave now. Like, breaks his legs. Like,
got you.
Spoiler alert. No, I'm not going to ruin it. No. But it's a really good film. And that's the vibe I kind of got from it, where like this lady's super nice, goes in there, buys all these like Cokes, doesn't drink them.
Well,
and
she doesn't buy them either.
He gets them for free. Yeah, well, she doesn't... Okay, fine. She doesn't buy them.
No, but I think that's another really interesting aspect of it, because he kind of talks about how he is very self-aware of how he kind of indulged her in the beginning.
Yeah.
Of kind of like the whole idea of she looked very vulnerable. She was kind of quite in an emotional state when she came to the pub, and he like all he did was kind of offer her a cup of tea to make her feel better.
Yeah.
And then it kind of starts this spiral. But I think obviously we have...
Coming in pretending she's really busy. Oh, I've got a really important call. Yeah, I'm speaking to Sony
give
later.
Me a Coke Zero.
Yeah.
I'll be here for the next 5 hours.
Just chatting away.
But I think what's quite interesting, obviously, again, is we don't regularly see a woman stalking a man.
Yeah.
Or at least like in like a televised kind of version of it. Like, that's not something we've seen a ton. And it really offers up like a new perspective to stalking.
Police still don't believe it though.
Well, this is what I mean. It's another thing that they touch on in the show, is he kind of goes to police after 6 months or whatever of this happening, and they are very dismissive of him. But I think obviously there's an added element to it being a woman stalking a man, but I do also think stalking in general is a very hard crime to prosecute. Like, it's because it's so... It's a lot of little things that build up to something very big. Like, it can just start off with very small things, and also you're probably unaware that it's happening for a while until it gets too far.
And you're probably like thinking about it, but also doubting yourself and being like, God, am I just tripping balls again?
Yeah. So Richard Gadd, obviously the guy that created the show, and it was his life. It's what happens to him. He wanted to show that mental health side of stalking and the fact that a lot of the time the people who are committing these crimes truly have no clue what they're doing and the damage that it's inflicting on like their victims. And even the fact that he didn't really want her to go to prison.
No, he's actually been really nice about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's just
he tweeted I think yesterday or Instagram post saying that people need to stop speculating and accusing people that they think might be the real person.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for context, there was lots of posts going around on TikTok and Twitter where people thought that they'd identified who the real Martha was, and people were kind of blowing up her socials. People have been speculating about her. People have also been speculating about who the man might be, the kind of art guy. He was like worked in the industry that basically ends up very brutally sexually assaulting. But yeah, I think that the whole kind of idea of speculating over who these people might have been is just like internet's morbid curiosity.
But I think like there's a line and it can be crossed sometimes.